Hey everyone, so if you see me like looking behind you, I usually film on my computer, on like the recording, whatever that's on your computer. I actually have a camera that I don't use as often to make videos because it's just like, oh, it doesn't have a thing to pop out so I can see myself, and that's like really important if you're filming a video of yourself. So I've kind of done this thing where I have my camera up, stacked on about 50,000 books, and a binder with a mirror sticking out of it behind the camera. So that's kind of what I'm looking at to see that I'm in frame. I'm hoping that I'm like kind of aligned. I can't even tell. And I've been wanting you to use my camera because it's a lot clearer, like the HD-ness of it is a lot better than it is on my laptop. I don't know, I'm hoping that I'm not too far away from the camera, so I'm hoping that the sound is okay. But yeah, in case you see me looking behind you, it's just me checking out myself. I literally just bought another memory card. The battery, I just bought another battery too recently. Hopefully this one actually works. But I also just bought another memory card because the battery and the memory, I only have an 8 GB memory card in this thing and it doesn't really last super long, and then by the time that ends the battery dies and it's just like a mess and I have to keep redoing it, which is why another reason why I don't really like using this camera for videos, because my videos tend to be really long. But yeah, I'm noticing that I'm coming out very white and very washed out in these in this thing. I can tell I'm pretty pale, but I'm not that pale. I don't know, I'm gonna have to figure out some kind of lighting situation for this to see what's best. Yeah, so hopefully I don't waste time doing this video on this camera. But what's it called? This video is going to be a discussion on my favorite book to movie adaptations. So yeah, I have a bunch of videos that I want to make and I just keep procrastinating for no reason. But the other day or a couple nights ago, I was like, you know what would be an interesting video? A book to movie adaptation type of discussion. So I wrote up a couple examples that I really like. I haven't tried looking some up, but it was like really old examples from like the 40s and 50s and 60s and stuff, and I was like, that's not really my genre of like stuff that I've read. So most of this stuff is a lot of like, not all of it, a lot of stuff that's come out more recently. But yeah, so when I go and watch a movie that was originally a book that I've read, I'm not one of those type of people that go in expecting the worst, that go in expecting to just criticize everything. I really like adaptations and I go to watch them expecting, not really expecting anything. Like, I'm not negative about it, but I just kind of go in to see what like the director and everybody involved with the movie, what they've done with the story. So I kind of, I like to see the changes. I like to see like the actors that have portrayed these characters that have been in my head. I like to see what they changed, what they didn't change, how they interpreted something that I might have really liked in the book. And so there are definitely some cases where I don't like what they do, and then there's some cases that I even like the movie more. A couple of those examples would be, there's a young adult duology called If I Stay, and the second one's called Where She Went. I really love those two books. I like the second one better, but I actually kind of like the movie more because there were a couple, like not even a lot, but there was a couple things in the movie that they did that wasn't in the book that I just thought was like really nice and romantic and cute and like really impacted the story, I felt. Like there's a part where, if you know the girl in that story, she plays the cello. I believe it's the cello. And so her boyfriend is like, oh, well, when you go and perform this song, the theater that you're going to perform in has this beautiful ceiling. And so what I did is I printed out a bunch of pages, whatever, of like what the ceiling looks like. And he put it on in her room so she could like look up and practice that way. And I just thought that was so cute. And that wasn't in the book. And I think he also gave her like some, because he was a musical kind of person too. So he was in a band and he played the guitar, and she obviously played the cello. So I think he exchanged with her like some bracelets that had a guitar and a cello on it. That was super cute also, and also that wasn't in the book. So it's just little things like that that I like to see in like movie adaptations. That's what I mean, not like drastic storylines. Like if you want to talk about a drastic storyline, My Sister's Keeper, that book, I really did like the movie. The movie, if you want to just sit for an hour, 2 hours and just cry, go and watch that movie. But they changed the ending, like they drastically changed it, and I kind of liked both endings. I liked the movie. The ending of the book was just very shocking. The one in the movie I felt was just more realistic, and it was just two different takes on the story, and I kind of enjoyed that. And then another movie that I liked better than the book was I Am Legend, you know, the one with Will Smith. The movie is great, and the book is like not as great as the movie, I think. Yeah, so I'm just gonna go into a couple examples that I really like, a couple adaptations that I really enjoy. The first one that I have here is The Martian. I really enjoyed this movie. I really liked the cast. I really liked, you know, Matt Damon was the main character, and I could have done with another actor, like no offense to Matt Damon, but I feel like the character in this book is like really sarcastic and funny and has dry humor, and I feel like another actor might have portrayed that a little bit better. Matt Damon was fine, but I feel like somebody else might have done a better job. Again, no offense to Mark Damon. But yeah, in the movie, they actually don't say my favorite line that's in the book. There's a really funny line in the book where the people down on Earth are like, you know, he's up in space, he's in Mars all alone, like what is he thinking about? And then the very next page is Mark Watney's like his diary or whatever, and he's thinking about some like superhero character, and it's just like, it was the funniest thing. I laughed out loud like as I was reading it. I just thought it was hysterical. They don't exactly say it in they change it a little bit in the movie, but they don't say it and they don't do it like how I pictured it in the book, which is totally fine. I wasn't a huge deal, but even with this movie, there was something that I liked in the movie better than the book. It was one thing, and it was the ending, because in the book, spoiler alert, in the book he gets saved and then that's where it ends. But in the movie, he gets saved and then there's an extra scene at the end where he's back on Earth and he's teaching a class and he's like, you know, living his life back down on Earth. We get a little bit more of an ending rather than just he was saved. So we'd learn that he got back down to Earth and that he was okay and that him and his entire crew was okay. So I really like that it wrapped it up a little bit more. And then there's another book called, I have it somewhere. There's another book that the author wrote that I really want to read. It's about a woman on the moon. But yeah, so the second one that I have here to talk about is The Secret Life of Bees, and this is just one of my favorite books. I believe I watched the movie first because I didn't know it was a book, and then one day when I was at a farmer's market, I love the story behind me finding this book. I was at a farmer's market and I found the book like in a crate, and I was like, this cover is super cute. Oh, let me get it for you. But yeah, I found this is the book. This is the book that I got. It's a little worn out. The pages are kind of yellow, and you know, the cover's a little bit worn, but I just absolutely adore this book so much. I just adore the cover. Is it not like the prettiest? Oh, I don't even know if you can see that. Can you see that? I just think it's like the prettiest cover ever. It's one of my favorite books. It's just, it's so good. And I've actually been wanting to read it again. I haven't read the book or watched the movie in a really long time, so I cannot remember how close the book and the movie are, but I'm pretty sure they're really close. But like, Dakota Fanning is the main character in this book. She's one of my favorite actresses. I think we're kind of the same age, kind of. She might be like a year or two older than me, but she's one of my favorite like child actors. When I was a kid watching movies and she was another kid in movies, she was like the one that I was watching. Alicia Keys is in this movie, Queen Latifah's in this movie, and they're all so, it's just such a good movie. So the next one that I have here is To Kill a Mockingbird. This book is one of my favorite like classic books. There's a lot of classic books that I feel are definitely overrated. Like you don't have to be, you know, you can be a reader but not be a book snob. Like not every book that everybody says is fantastic is fantastic. To Kill a Mockingbird is absolutely fantastic though. It's one of my favorite classics. That and The Grapes of Wrath are two of my like favorites. But the movie is in black and white, the original movie. I don't know if there's like a remake. I don't think so. But the original movie that came out, and it's in black and white, and it's really good. And it's like, you know, older movies don't always flow as nicely as like movies nowadays do. This one really does, and like the scene at the end in the courtroom is really impactful, and it's just a really good movie. Like it's one of my favorites. I watched it recently, like within the last couple years, since I read the book. I read the book in high school. I don't remember. But it's really, really good. So the next one that I have here is The Hunger Games. Man, The Hunger Games is a young adult. Everybody's heard of The Hunger Games. It's one of my favorite series ever. It's one of my favorite young adult series ever. It's a really, really good book. And why Suzanne Collins has not made more books about this world, I will never understand. I'm still like hoping and praying that one day she makes a another series about like Haymitch, or like when everything went down like in the beginning. I need more of this world. But what's it called? This is seriously, it's a really, really good adaptation, and I'm pretty sure like there's a few things that they don't do in the movie, like Peter's supposed to lose his leg. He never loses his leg, and like there's just things like that, but like the main parts and the real meat of the story, they keep the same, and it's really, really good. Jennifer Lawrence, she's a like, you may or may not like Jennifer Lawrence, but she is a really good actor, and she really did Katniss good, I think. And everybody in this movie did such a fantastic job with their characters, and I will like forever be impressed by everybody, and like the way that the futuristic things were done, the way just everything about these movies kind of blew my mind, and like it was just, it's so good. Like I remember reading the books when I was in, I think I was in 9th grade. I was about 15 years old, I think, so almost 7 years ago. But I remember thinking I was so bad because I was like reading up until 1 o'clock in the morning trying to finish like Mockingjay or something like that. I thought I was bad. Now I just do that all the time. But what's it called? Yeah, the Hunger Games, my favorite movie, man, I don't even know my favorite movie. Either the first one or the last one. I really like the bookends of books and movie series and stuff like that. But yeah, man, that's a book series that I've been meaning to like reread and like rewatch again. It's just so good. So the next one that I have here is The Help. This movie I absolutely love. Viola Davis is my favorite actress of all time. She is absolutely wonderful in everything that she does. I've seen almost everything that she's been in, almost. And she's just fantastic. So I read the book. I actually have 2 copies of the book because I have a problem. And I don't think I have the movie on DVD, but I watched it a couple times, and it's just really good. All of the actors that were chosen to be these characters are really good actors. Viola Davis is my favorite. She portrays her character flawlessly. It's just a really good adaptation, and I'm pretty sure the adaptation's close to like the book. Yeah, like that one, that's just one of my favorites, hands down. I don't even have too much to say about it. It's just good. If you want to read the book, it's a really nice, like easy to read, not like easy to read where it's like simple. I like it. I like books that are like easy to just understand, if that makes sense. Like The Kite Runner is another example. Like it's really impactful, but it doesn't read pretentiously, if you know what I mean. I don't even know. But yeah, that one is just fantastic. And then the next one that I really like is Gone Girl. Oh my god, this is one of my favorite books. Who is the author? Gillian Flynn. I could never learn how to say her first name. I apologize. But I have all her the 3 books that she has. I've only read Gone Girl, and I have the other 2. I've been meaning to get to them forever. But that book is just keeps you on. I've never read a more thrilling book. Keeps you on your toes. Every single page, every single end of the chapter, there's something new to like be like worried about, and like what's gonna happen. And then the movie does a really good job in portraying that thrill. And I remember, kind of spoiler alert for the end of the book, but she ends up, Amy Dunn, she wins at the end of the story. And I remember finishing the last page of the book because it's told from her kind of perspective, and I remember being so frustrated because she won. Like, I understand her husband was not a great guy. He cheated on her. He like forced her to move somewhere where she didn't want to. She just always got the short end of the stick in this marriage. But like what she did to him, man, like I am all for getting back at your man or your significant other for cheating on you, but good lord, getting back at them by forcing them to stay with you, like that is some twisted stuff right there. But yeah, the book was really good, and the movie did a really good job at portraying this kind of like you don't know if you can trust the main character, you don't know if you can trust what's happening in front of you, you never know what's gonna happen, and it's just pretty great. All right, so the next example I have here is the book beautiful creatures that was turned into a movie. I thought I had the DVD actually, I don't know where it is. But this book I read forever ago, and then they turned it into a movie. And this book is the first in like four it's a series of 4 books. And it was just a star-studded cast of a movie. It was absolutely fantastic. I really liked the first book in the series, and then it progressively gets kind of worse. Spoiler alert, at the end of the book, there's one character that is very close to the main character. She ends up dying, and then the main character is just crying into his girlfriend's arms, and that's how the series ends. So I don't know why that happened. Yeah, it's a really interesting story about a this witch. It's a bunch of witches in this story. Viola Davis is in this movie, my fave. Emmy Rossum is in this movie, another one of my favorite actresses. I love her. Emma Thompson. But yeah, this is just a really star-studded movie, and like the concept of the story is just so interesting, and I really liked how they put it onto screen. Like with Viola Davis's character, her character was 2 different characters combined, which was kind of cool. And so it was just like, when you watch it, it was so aesthetically pleasing to the eye. Like everything was so gorgeous. Like in these it takes place in the South, so you have these huge houses and these beautiful like just places, and it's just such a, if anything, it's nice to just watch to see that. All right, then I have a couple of other random ones that I put in here. There's a movie called The Mist that's based off of a Stephen King book by the same name, and I was at a store recently with my brother, and he found it, like an old DVD for like $5, so I bought it, and we watched it like a few last week, and I really like this movie. It's I watched the movie, and then a family member was like, hey, I have the book, do you want to read it? And I was like, yeah. So I read it, and it was really good, and I just really like that movie, and it's one of my favorites, and I always think of it. And I really need to get more into Stephen King. I have The Shining, but I have not read it yet, so I want to save it for October to like read it during the month and then watch the movie maybe at the end of the month. That'll be interesting because I think it's on Netflix. But yeah, The Mist is the only Stephen King book that I read. There's so many, I wouldn't even know where to start. So if you like Stephen King, if you read any of his books, please tell me what your favorites are, because I don't even know where to start, honestly. Another one that I have here is The Fault in Our Stars, the John Green book. I remember really I read that book and I really liked it. It wasn't like, it was really good. I liked it, but then the movie kind of brought out more emotion, I think. And I remember John Green really liking the movie. So that's one that I would say. And then I would say Harry Potter, but because the movies are literally amazing, like they're fantastic all by themselves, like even if you haven't read the books. But I haven't read the books in like literally over a decade, and I wouldn't even know how to compare them. I know that there's a lot that they don't put in the movies. I know that there's some things that aren't even in there, but so I wouldn't even know how to compare them from my own opinion. And then there's one that I really want to read so that I can see it eventually, and it's Ready Player One. This book is supposed to be, somebody said it was like an 80s and like video games and like all this cool futuristic stuff, and I'm like, I am down for that. So I haven't read it yet, but I really want to, so that I can watch the movie and like analyze both, because I really like to read books that are movies, because I like to see the two mediums of the story. So that's one thing that I want to see so that I can't, or want to read so I can see it. And then I have another note here. There's a book series by Marie Lu called Legend, and I think they're turning her books into movies, I think. Haven't heard anything else about that, and so I'm excited for that whenever it happens, because that's one of my favorite like young adult dystopian series ever. And then there's another author named Tahara Mafi, and she's another young adult, well, she's going into another type of genre, but she mainly writes young adult novels. And so she has a book series that she just continued recently called Shatter Me, and they're supposed to turn that into a movie, no, to a TV show. So I'm excited for that, because it's not like my favorite series ever, but it's really good I mean, if I read it, I liked it, obviously. So I'm excited to see that. And then a bird. But she just released the 4th book in that series, so I'm like dying to get my hands on it so I can read it eventually. I have so many books. that I have not read. So I have put myself on a ban of not getting just random books. Like, I'll get books by authors that I really like if they come out with them and that I know I'm gonna read eventually. But if I see a book that I'm just like, that looks cool, I don't get it, because then that's just a problem. I don't know how long this video is going to be. I've had to stop my camera twice now because, again, the stupid battery pack is dying, and I bought one on Amazon and it's not working, so I'm gonna get a refund on that. But yeah, let me know what your favorite book to movie adaptations are, book to TV show adaptations are, or even like, I know that there's like plays and musicals and stuff like that. But yeah, definitely let me know if you have read any of these books, seen any of these movies. What are your favorites? What are your favorites that I haven't mentioned? I would love to know. And yeah, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video. Bye bye.